asked her, I said, well, what advice do you have for me? And she said, if you fail to not enjoy him, that'll be the worst mistake you make in your life. She said, in all that you do with him as a boy, once he comes into this world and you hold him for the first time, you enjoy him every moment.
Welcome to the Fathering Strong podcast, where we celebrate the incredible journeys of fathers who are making a difference. Hosted by Urban Light Ministry President and author, Pastor Eli Williams. Each week, we'll hear from an inspiring guest who will share their unique fatherhood story. We'll discuss the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned along the way, offering valuable insights and encouragement for all dads. Join us as we explore the power of fatherhood and build a brighter future for our families.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this installment of the Fathering Strong podcast. I'm Eli Williams, delighted to have you with us today. And we're thankful that Stephen Massey has agreed to join us today as our guest on the Fathering Strong podcast. Hello, Stephen, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our aim is to inform, inspire, and to encourage fathers to be their best as parents and as parenting partners. And we are hoping today that through your stories, Stephen, someone will indeed be inspired to go on the next mile when it comes to their fathering journey and to learn about your very important work here in this community and beyond. So again, we thank you for being here. We'd like to start, Stephen, by asking our guests about their own fatherhood story. Everybody has one. Some are good, some are bad, some are very ugly, but they're all very insightful to give us a look inside of what makes you who you are. So let's start with the question, Stephen. Tell us about your fatherhood story, your relationship with your father.
Yes. Father, first, my ultimate father, who I call my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, is really showed me through my life the importance and value that and influence my father had on me. And so my father was, I always say that if I could be a fraction of the man that he was, based on what I've learned about him, that I would hit the mark and do things beyond what I ever expected to as a father in that space, in that role. But I would tell a quick story about my father. As I got older, I learned more about him. When I was young, he wasn't in my life a lot, and there were some deficits there, but never did I not love him. Never did I not seek him out. Found out that at the age of 17, he went to Korea. He went to the war. Now, you're saying 17, huh? That wasn't even legal, but back then you could sign documents and get in until they found out or whatever. Yeah. And he would send money home from Korea to help my aunt put her through nursing school. And once my grandmother found out he was gone and she had thought he had run away, which was unusual, she went to California and had them send him home. And what he did was re-enlisted when he was of age and went right back. And, you know, that is one of the probably the most important pieces to the story when I think about my father as a young man before he went on his journey to become a father. Yeah. So, and everybody loved him. He was a man that was very humble. He was soft-spoken. And there was, there's a quote from Bobby Mims, of one of my mentors. He said, Deke didn't play. So he didn't play around, but he was a peaceful man. He was a God-fearing man, and he loved people. He was a great guy. And yes, definitely.
Great story. So now tell us about your journey as a father. How did what was the circumstances around your first child?
Wow. That's, so I've had some interesting dynamic in my life that's probably not unique to others, but I'm from a blended family, and my wife she had 4 kids before we got married, and so I had some opportunities as a parent at a young age with some of her younger kids as a young father, not knowing what to do. Still don't really think I know a lot about it, but helping to raise a couple girls. Primarily from age 8 to 18, and not being hands-on totally, but being involved, engaged, giving them what I could, more so support, safety, security, and provision. And but once Austin was born, the baby, my son, my biological son, the game was changed, and I knew then that I'd have a task. And there is a paradox to raising kids. And as a father, I looked at that paradox is they actually raise us. But it's been a beautiful thing. It's been a beautiful journey to be entrusted to lead a young kid and give him the guidance, equip him with things that you hope that he'll use down the road, like some of our fathers did for us.
Well, I know Austin. He's a fine young man. So what was your dominant emotion when you found out that you were going to be a biological father?
Wow. Yeah, I sought out a lady who was a person of faith who had a lot of wisdom, and I told her I was terrified, and I said, everyone's telling me all these things to do. They're telling me about how he's going to change every day, how to just be present, how to do this and that. And I asked her, I said, well, what advice do you have for me? And she said, if you fail to not enjoy him, that'll be the worst mistake you make in your life. She said, in all that you do with him as a boy, once he comes into this world and you hold him for the first time, you enjoy him every moment. So that's through any time, good times, bad times, and in between. But I've always heard her voice saying, just enjoy him. Simply enjoy your boy. He's been a gift to you.
Wow, what an amazing piece of advice.
Yes.
You tried to follow that, haven't you?
I have tried to follow it, Pastor Eli, but I've also tried to share that with every man and woman that I encounter who is about to have a child or who has one. I tell them that it's not my information, that I source it and tell them that it came from someone that had a lot of wisdom, and God really brought them into my life for that moment to tell me something that was going to probably be the most important piece of advice that I could use in raising a child and being in that child's life.
Well, thank you for sharing that here. And we hope that young fathers will take that advice, not just if it's your first, but if you've had many children, it's not too late to start doing that, making sure that every day you enjoy the time that you have with your child, because every day is a gift.
Yes.
Day. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That's excellent. Now, you do some amazing work, Stephen, in your profession. Before we get to that, tell us how you came to be in your particular profession today. Tell us what it is, and then how you happened to be in that lane. And then I'll ask you questions about the particulars of your work.
Yeah, there's so many directions I could go with that question. I just always want to first thank the Lord for covering me through my life. I've had so many challenges, as many have, and it's amazing. If I look like what I've been through, you wouldn't recognize me. But I believe the way I come into this work was based on me looking at my life as a kid and not having a father in my life at critical times. He came into my life later on, but he remained. He got saved, turned his life around, and he came back to his family full force. And I believe I'm a half and half. I believe I'm half Betty Massey, half Richard Massey. I believe their traits have shaped me to be a person with a mix of grace, but also tenacity. My mother was tenacious in a good way. She was the type of woman that when we were young, she would sit in the corner with a bowl of rice and we'd have a full spread on the table eating dinner as she raised 3 siblings alone. My father came back into my life, and I remember him emptying all his money out of his pockets every time he came to us, not out of guilt, but saying, I just want to make sure my family have what they need and I'm okay. And I would say, Dad, you need to take care of yourself. He said, I'm good. I just need to make sure that you all have what you need. And I believe that's been a lot of what I've based my values on as a parent, not the tangible things, but just being able to learn more from my kids on this journey to give them the things that I need, sacrifices, substance, helping them with the foundation, helping them to make mistakes, helping them to understand that the world's going to show you so much, and you really have to understand that you still need to be you as you walk this journey.
Now, among the things that you have done that I know about is you work with men who have had some issues, right? We'll put it that way.
Yes.
And it's such consequential work because these are men who normally are only seen as perpetrators. And but you recognize them as human beings, and every human being can change. So tell us about that. How are you working, or if you're still doing it, working with men who have been accused of some pretty horrible things, but you believe in redemption and you have worked with those men to help them to turn their lives around and find the support that they need?
Yes. There's I feel privileged and blessed to be in spaces where there's a lot of darkness, and so there's several things I get to do. I don't like to talk about it, but it's funny. Sometimes people ask you what you do, and you never know if you tell them it might be something they need or it helps someone else. And many times we have to tell funders what we do, right?
Yeah.
They want to know what we do.
Right.
And I like the intangible work. I like the work where it's qualitative, in the trenches with sitting with someone in pain. But some of the things I do is work with victims of violent crimes. But I know you're talking about the work that I've been entrusted to do with people who've been in cycles of domestic violence.
Yeah, we'll get to the other.
Yeah, so those men and women, and the women are worked with through women, other women who we've entrusted to do that work, who've been trained to do it. I believe there's two parts of community. I believe you want to keep women and people and men safe who have been victimized. But what about the other half of community? If we cast people out and give them no chance for hope or redemption or to recover, then what are we saying about humanity? That only the people who've been hurt deserve to have refuge? What about others who have stories of turning their lives around? These men work in these groups for, on the average, 27 weeks, and not every time, but it's interesting. Somewhere through 6, 7 weeks, 10 weeks out, the first couple weeks, they'll be like, I don't need to be here. And at some point, they'll have this moment where there's something that happens where the light turns on, and it could be something as simple as that. So when I withhold money from her and them, that I'm oppressing them financially. I was taught by my father that I take care of everything. And so helping them to change their belief system changes the community. And we have a lot of success stories of watching men become better fathers, husbands, community members, humans as a result of this work. Yeah, so, and it's even changed me. I know, when you do the work, you actually learn too, because you're exposed to it. And there is a transformation that occurs with us as well. We can never be our best. We can always be better. And we're flawed as humans, so we're going to always miss the mark.
So among the things you do is work with men who have been perpetrators of violence and help them to reform and to become contributing members of society, safe, wholesome, loving individuals, which takes 27 weeks, I believe it is, 27 sessions, which is a major commitment on the part of that individual to be a part of something that's going to take a sincere effort on their part in order to change. And you have actually seen that change as you have worked with these men. I want to congratulate you on that work. It's not my first time congratulating you, but I really admire what you guys do. because I think it's essential that we not throw people away, but we do what we can to help them to make the changes that many of them in their heart want to make, but don't know how to.
This is true. This
Yeah.
is true. And I have the evidence from
Yeah.
watching lives change. Being in the grocery store and a father or a husband coming up and his wife standing there with him saying, I don't know what you did to him, but he is not the same man. And
Yeah.
I thank you for it. And he's standing behind her going, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, that's right. You go on, man. Do your thing.
Yeah.
Live your life. It's called a journey to freedom.
Yeah. That's amazing
Definitely.
stuff. Yep. Now you also work with victims of crime, and we'll get to that after this short break. This is the Fathering Strong podcast. My guest today is Stephen Massey. More with him after this timeout.
Looking to be the best dad you can be? The Fathering Strong podcast is your guide. Hosted by Pastor Eli Williams. Each episode features inspiring conversations with dads who are making a difference. Learn valuable strategies for building strong families, tackle tough fatherhood issues, and get motivated to be your best self. Never miss an episode. Subscribe to the Fathering Strong podcast on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Your subscription helps us provide free services and resources to families in need. Don't wait. Subscribe to the Fathering Strong podcast today and join our community of dads committed to building strong families. Together, let's make a difference.
This is the Fathering Strong podcast. Eli Williams here, and Stephen Massey is my guest. Again, Stephen, thank you for being with us today. Tell us about your work with victims of crime.
Oh, yes. About 2016, I was approached by our now governor, the Ohio Attorney General at that point, Governor DeWine. So what happened that through that work, working with people in trauma, we were able to start serving victims of violent crimes through our Trauma Recovery Center, which I was entrusted to program design and just started up. And it was a model that came out of California that was really progressive and where victims were falling through the cracks. And so we saw the need, we were asked to do the work, and we've been doing it ever since. And we're very grateful. We serve victims of crime, all the ugly stuff that happens to people, and we just try to help them heal and recover in the best way that we can.
So what does that look like? Are those weekly sessions? And what does it involve beyond I would say, educational piece of that?
Yeah, there is opportunity for therapy and a lot of the behavioral health trauma work to be supported. But we do a lot of things. We accompany them to court. We help them with appointments. We do food. We do clothing, shelter. We help them get IDs. We help people just when something happens traumatic, sometimes you get paralyzed, you freeze. And just imagine something like that happening to us and having no resources and having to navigate a community, same community where we were exploited or someone in our life was, and not having anybody to say, I see you, I care about you, I want to help you, what do you need? So in a nutshell, that's what we do. We provide the advocacy and counseling to help victims of crime heal. And then we do a lot of stuff in the community, assertive outreach, where we do events. We have speakers who tell their stories about what their healing journey looks like. And we get opportunities to just do a lot of different things. We even, it's nothing we did. It was something I saw out of California. We were able to give one lady a car. It wasn't a new car, but we were able to get a collaboration of people together. It was a single parent mom who had been victimized, that had some things happen to her. We got her a car, but also she ended up going to college and she's thriving, and she's one of the success stories. She's a superwoman. She's a rock star. And so we get a chance to be in those spaces that we really don't deserve to be in, to help and watch people heal, give them that support.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, you mentioned the word collaboration. How do you work with other agencies in the community to wrap around these individuals with the services that they need?
Yeah, well, they're the ones that make it happen. We work with our prosecutor's office, Victims Witness. We work with Project Woman. We work with a lot of partners like Job and Family Services, Urban Light, anyone who has resources that we can connect those survivors to and work together with them. We don't just send them there. We go with them. We walk with them. And we also don't try to influence or persuade them to access services. We just really expose them, show them the value in them, and make sure that they're the ones, because they're the experts. So they're the ones that make the decisions on what they need and what they want. We just help them. We just help them in that walking, healing journey with them. Just stay with the course with them.
Oh, well, what an important work. That's amazing.
Yes.
So how long do you work with these clients of yours? Is there a set period of time and then it's over and then they're off on their own? Or how does that work?
Yeah, there is an evidence-based model out there that, and every community is different. And I know Springfield's a special place. And the work that I have been entrusted to do is that we look at maybe 16 weeks progressive case management and therapy. But also, if there's a need for additional, and then we reconnect with them and just make sure we follow up with them, and we just stay the course until they say, "Hey, I'm good, and I think I'm okay," and we wish them the best, definitely.
So the name of the agency is City Lookout, and what is your official title there that describes your role?
I am the director of the Trauma Recovery Center. So I'm the one that developed that center in 2017. I was the one that developed the logo, program design, replicating a model out of California, scaling it to Springfield, Ohio. But also, before we get off this podcast, I want to talk about my baby.
Your baby?
My baby.
Go for it.
My baby. Now, I love the work that I've been doing in the two spaces mentioned, but here, what's been trending is, and you've been seeing a lot of that work, and you're responsible for a lot of that, Pastor Eli. You've helped foster a lot of courage and confidence in me. So, Awakenings of Clark County. It's a social justice engine that is devoted to empowerment and inclusion. We're creating access points in community for people, family, and youth. And what we do is a lot of the same equity work. We collaborate a lot, like with the Clark County Combined Health. One of our projects that's been going on for like 4 years now is we work under a smoking grant with them to look at disparities in communities of color, where smoking is targeted through marketing, and we do a lot of support with youth and vaping. So we're in schools, and it's not just about color or race. We work with all community. But ODH, the Ohio Department of Health, they get the data and they give it to us. And so I've been entrusted to partner with Clark County Combined Health and then a lot of other partners around the community on various initiatives. I also have my own podcast called Another Look, and we'll be starting our second season, and you're going to be on it at some point. I want to hear from leaders again about what this community needs, what they are doing, and what perspective they have on making this community a better place.
Good work, my friend. Very good work. The name of the organization is Awakenings.
Awakenings of Clark County.
Stephen is also a leader with City Lookout. And we're going to take our final time out. And when we come back, I want to ask you about what you see of your work. What do you think you'll be doing in the next 5 years that you envision for yourself and for your work in this community or beyond? Stephen Massey is my guest. This is the Fathering Strong podcast. Stay with us for our final segment.
Children benefit significantly from the presence of committed, loving, nurturing fathers. Strong fathers contribute to stable families and safe, healthy communities. Fathering Strong connects, engages, and empowers fathers. Join the fatherhood movement at fatheringstrong.com to discover a wealth of resources, from inspiring videos to informative articles and instructive courses. By subscribing to our resources, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping Fathering Strong provide these valuable tools to families in need. Visit fatheringstrong.com, download the app, and subscribe to our YouTube channel today. Together, let's build stronger families and communities.
My guest today is Stephen Massey. This is the Fathering Strong podcast, and Stephen has been sharing with us about his work in this particular community and beyond, and we're grateful for that, Stephen. So, of the things that you are currently doing, what keeps you motivated? What gets you up in the morning?
My faith and family. Those are the two top things that keep me motivated. Those are my priorities in life. It's amazing as you get a little older, you start to put in perspective what is really important. Prosperity, provision, those are all things that God wants for us. But those things streamline through our faith in trusting Him, and also us being honorable to take care of our family and our community. So it's funny because our governor, and I don't want to get political, his theme was faith, family, and friends. And I thought, that's a pretty cool catch. And it's interesting because it seems like I'm living in that space right now. I feel like those are my priorities daily. I wake up and I say, Lord, take me, do what you want. I don't care what it is, how frightening it is, just do it. And then you pray that prayer and you watch out because things will happen and you'll be like, whoa. But I've done a lot here to try to pour into my kids and my friends and my wife, making sure that I don't neglect the time and the attention and energy that I have. It should be directed towards her, not getting the leftovers. So if you ask me that's what I am right now. I'm trying to be that person, that man.
All right. Excellent. Good stuff. So transport yourself 5 years into the future and look around. What 5 years from now has changed as a result of the work that you are doing today?
I think that people, there's a generational component to it. I believe we have the chance to impact generations. I've been associated with the fatherhood work. I'm a big fan and a believer. I've actually worked for you and Urban Light and did work with men and fathers. And that was some soul work that really produced a lot of fruit. And knowing that we have the chance to break generational cycles of men either not having fathers or men becoming fathers, there's an opportunity that we can ensure that future fathers and people who are prospective fathers displaced coming back to their families and kids, that they can thrive and we can change the whole community as a result. Fathers are relevant. And I'm not saying that because I'm on your podcast. I just know because I am one. Mothers can't do without them. Fathers are relevant. Fathers are needed in families and in the lives of their kids. And they should be recognized in community as very important parts of the family system and the community system. So I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what I have.
You did a fine job.
I'll take that. I'll take that to the bank today.
There were no right or wrong answers. That was from your heart.
Yes.
That's what we were looking for.
Yes.
So what would be some final words you would say to someone who is watching or listening to this podcast and they've had some trials and tribulations in their life? What encouraging, inspirational thing would you say to them to help them along their journey?
Don't give up before the miracle happens. I think you are being battle tested. I think that everything you've gone through is going to be for a greater purpose. I believe that you have a chance to do great things in life. And I believe that we all have a part in it. I don't believe no one is better than the other on this journey as we walk down this path of either becoming a father or having experienced fatherhood in our lives. So, yeah, I just hope over the next 5 years that we all come together and start realizing that we have a place and a role, and that don't listen to the voices in the head tell you that you are not important, you're not relevant. because our ultimate Father is sending down that energy saying, I need you to do my work, and you are entrusted to be a father, and you can be a great one.
That's a great word. Thank you, Stephen. How would someone get in touch with you if they've got questions about your work? Perhaps they are in need of some of your services or know of someone who is. Share with our audience how they might reach you.
Yeah, so with Awakenings of Clark County, we are at 101 South Fountain in Springfield, Ohio, downtown at the market at Cohatch. Also, we're at awakeningsofclarkco.com. And also, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and also my email is citylookout726@gmail.com. That's CITILOOKOUT 726@gmail. So I know I said all that pretty fast, but I'll make sure if anybody wants to get a hold in touch with me, that I'll make sure that I find a way to do that, even if it's through Urban Light, sending out my information and our organization.
Yeah, we'll include that information along with the description of this program, the Fathering Strong podcast. Stephen Massey has been my guest today. Stephen, thank you so much. And we thank you all for being a part of today's broadcast. It would be of no use if you weren't on the listening and viewing end. So thank you so much for that. And we also invite you to subscribe to the Fathering Strong podcast. It is your subscribing to the podcast that enables us to continue and to build enough of an audience that we might be able to actually do it sustainably. And that's what we're looking for. So it's a free subscription. Just go to YouTube, the Fathering Strong podcast, view and subscribe, and then tell your friends. We also provide a weekly blog post called the Fathering Strong blog. You can also subscribe to that. We'd be happy to make sure that shows up in your notifications once per week. Again, thank you for being a part of today's podcast. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you to all of you. We'll see you next time on the next edition of the Fathering Strong podcast.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Fathering Strong podcast. We hope you found the conversation inspiring and helpful. To make sure you don't miss out on future episodes, subscribe to the Fathering Strong podcast on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Just search for Fathering Strong in your favorite app. The Fathering Strong podcast is brought to you by Urban Light Ministries, a nonprofit organization with a 3-decade legacy dedicated to turning the hearts of fathers to their children. Thanks to your support, we're able to keep this podcast and many other resources free for dads everywhere. To learn more about Urban Light Ministries or to donate and help us continue this important work, visit urbanlight.org. The Fathering Strong podcast is a production of Urban Light Ministries. Eli Williams is your host, and Bruce Stapleton of the Momentum Group is the producer and engineer. Our theme music is provided by saxophonist Harold Rayford.